I'm honored and pleased to be with you this afternoon. I'm thinking about the fact that we've been here before, haven't we? Several of us, many of us. I was certainly here with you before. I think it was maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. We stood in this very spot. We looked up at those same windows and we were concerned about Saeed Malekpour. And I guess on one hand, the fact that we've had to come back again, that it is almost 2 years since we were here last, and that he still faces injustice, that his life is still on the line, could give us despair. But I think what we really need to remember is we are here again, and that's what's so important. We haven't given up. We know what is right. We know what needs to happen in this case and with respect to so many, countless other prisoners and individuals facing execution in Iran. So it's good that we're back together, and of course there are hundreds, there are thousands of people across Canada and around the world who share in our sense of concern and outrage and determination. Our plea is not complicated, and it's not an impossible plea. It's a simple, heartfelt plea for rights and justice to prevail in this case, and for the life of a man to be saved. But for more than 3 years now, Saeed Malekpour has found himself trapped in a terrible maze of fear and horror and injustice in the Iranian justice system. And now he finds himself, we know, facing the possibility of execution at any time. He's been through the legal system, if we want to call it that. The courts have turned him down. The courts have said, courts which should stand for rights, courts which are supposed to be the guardians of justice around the world, have said in his case, he should be killed. There is a great deal that stands in the way of Saeed Malekpour having his rights protected and having the justice that is his due delivered. Certainly, one thing that stands in his way is that Iran in recent years has become a killing machine. The rate of executions in Iran in recent years has become terrifying, while the rest of the world is starting to recognize that the right direction to move is to abolish the death penalty, is to end executions, and bit by bit, we're seeing that momentum everywhere. In Iran, we're seeing exactly the opposite trend, and Saeed Malekpour finds himself trapped in that horrible reality. Amnesty International knows that in the first 18 days of this year alone, at least 53 people were put to death in Iran. Just do the math for a minute, friends. That's about 3 people killed in Iran by the state deliberately every single day. Imagine what 2012 will look like if that keeps up. And we're here because we are determined, we are insistent that Saeed Malekpour not become another statistic, and in fact, that there be no more executions in Iran. All of that stands in Saeed Malekpour's way. The other thing that stands in Saeed Malekpour's way is we know that there's been an intensification, a crackdown in Iran against individuals who use the internet in a whole variety of ways. The government feels threatened by the freedom of expression that takes hold on the internet. The power of the internet to spread ideas, to mobilize people, to open people's eyes. And Amnesty International has documented case after case now of bloggers, internet developers, writers who are finding themselves imprisoned, and others who are finding themselves at risk of death for that very reason. So there is much that stands in Saeed Malekpour's way, but there is much that stands with and for him, and all of you represent what stands with and for him. But above all else, what stands with and for him is rights and justice. The right thing to happen in this case is that his life be saved, and we and the thousands of other people who know that will not be silent, and we will keep up the pressure towards that end.